What's up, kings and queens and scholars? You know, it's your boy here, the one and only Coach Byrd, back with you today. We're talking about adding integers today, all right? And in our previous video, we talked about what an integer was. An integer was a whole number from positive to negative infinity. And then we also talked about what an integer was not. An integer is not a fraction or a decimal because those do not represent whole numbers. They actually represent partial or a part of something. But an integer is a whole number. And today I'm going to show you how to add integers, all right? I'm give you some techniques and some steps to help you add integers without giving you the rule right off the bat. So our first integer that we're going to probably always see is which is what we're used to, a positive plus a positive. If I have a positive plus a positive, my answer will always be, you got it, a positive, all right? That's the simple one. That's the one that you're going to see. And I'm going to show you how it looks on a number line. So if you have a number line, if I have a number line and I'm going to write the problem right here. If I have positive 3 plus positive 2 on my number line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My first number tells me where to start at. So I'm starting at positive 3. And I'm adding a positive 2. So if I'm adding positive 2, I'm going into the right direction because going to the left is a negative on a number line. So if I'm adding 2, I'm going to move 2 places to the right, which is 1, 2, and of course, 3 plus 2 is 5. So we're talking about adding integers. So if I'm adding 2 positive numbers, my answer will always be positive because I will start on a positive and I'm moving to the right, which will always give me a positive. The next thing that we're probably going to see is a negative plus a positive. Well, let's not go there yet. We're going to see a positive plus a negative. And a positive plus a negative will always give you a...
Marion James, please report to D19. D19 to Marion James. Miss Keller is waiting on you.
I apologize about that, so let's get back to it. So a positive plus a negative will always equal a depends on the bigger number. So I'm going to give you an example of that. I'm going to give you an example of 3 plus 2, positive, positive, and I'm going to give you an example of 3 plus negative 4. All right? So if I do 3 plus 2 as we just did, I just did that in the last example, but I'm going to run through it again real quick. Start my 0 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I messed that up. I do apologize. I'm going the wrong direction. 3 plus negative 2 should have been the 3 plus negative 2. And we're going to put that in the bracket to separate it from the two operations. You don't want to have them together. But 3 plus negative 2, if I'm at 0, 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, if I'm at positive 3, start there, and I move 2 places to the left because it's a negative, that's 1, 2. I'm at positive 1. So when your bigger number is a positive, when you're doing positive plus a negative, your answer will come out to be a positive. But when your bigger number is a negative and the absolute value, which was a video that we watched 2 days ago, or that I did 2 days ago and you watched, where my bigger whole number is a negative, 1, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, my first number always tells me where to start at. So I'm starting at positive 3. And I'm going negative 4, which is to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I end up at negative 1. So 3 plus negative 4 gives me negative 1. I'm sorry. But 3 plus negative 2 gives me positive 1. So it depends on when you're adding integers a positive plus a negative, it depends on the bigger whole number. And in this case, the positive was bigger, so my answer should be positive. In this case, my negative was bigger, so my answer should be negative. So it depends on the bigger number. And that also works in reverse. So instead of adding on to this video and showing you, another example, this also works for a negative plus a positive. It works vice versa as well. So when you're adding integers, a negative and a positive, either way, your answer will always be the integer of the higher whole number. All right, the absolute value of the higher whole number, the bigger one. So let's move on to the last one that you'll see. The last one that you'll see will always be a negative plus a negative. When I do a negative plus a negative, my answer should be a negative. Because if I am on my number line, remember my first number tells me where to go. 3 plus negative 2. So if I'm at negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. If I'm at negative 3, and I'm adding a negative 2, although I'm adding a negative, that's going to be 1, 2, negative 5. So negative 3 plus negative 2 is negative 5. So let's recap. Positive plus a positive will always give you a positive. A negative plus a positive or a negative plus a positive or a positive plus a negative will always give you the answer, the integer of the higher whole number, absolute value. And then last but not least, a negative plus a negative will always give you a negative. All right? So I see you guys in the next video.